Welcome back to the Mentor Show, which offers quick lessons packaged within minisodes for busy founders and startup leaders like you. I'm Adel, and I'm being mentored live and unscripted by Ed, who's built, sold, turned around, and scaled startups all the way to the New York Stock Exchange. He's based in the US, a developed economy, and I'm based in Dubai, a hub within an emerging economy. And we compare notes. This is real talk, no scripts, no theory. Let's get into it.
What if I was the CFO? What's your advice to me?
Well, I would say that if you're the CFO of a technology company, and that title is really important. I think a lot of young companies suffer from title inflation, and the person they call a CFO is really a good controller, but not really a CFO. So let's start with that. If you're gonna give somebody the title, make sure the title is commensurate with the skill set. You could also have, I think attorneys are a good example here. You could have a company that goes a very long ways before they actually hire an internal general counsel. And what they tend to do is use outside counsel to do their legal work. You can also use an outside CFO to assist your controller. So you don't really have an employee that's CFO, you have a consultant that oversees the controller to make sure they're doing all the right things. But in general, what a good CFO will do, and this is actually the easy part of the job, is there's a known financial standard, right? It's called the generally accepted accounting principles, followed the world over, even in Sharia finance environments. So there's a way to set up the general ledger. There's a way to track accounts receivable, accounts payable, deferred income, liabilities, tracking assets. A lot of that work now is very boilerplate. What a good CFO does is they do financial planning and analysis using all of that data from the books, plus inputs from engineering, plus inputs from sales, plus inputs from customer success, to be able to anticipate, are my product release schedules on time? If they're not, how much more money do we have to invest to make them on time? Are the products high quality? Because if the customer churn rate is high, that will probably be a reflection on poor quality software or poor quality bug checks, that kind of thing. If the revenue is slow, what are the KPIs I'm using to track accuracy of forecasting? So one of the problems I see often is the CRO will say, we're going to close $1 million in revenue this year. But in the first quarter, instead of 250,000 coming through, it's only 100. First question, how come we're 150,000 short? Oh, don't worry, we'll make up for it in further. That's a bad bet, right? The CFO should say, I've annualized the income stream. I've taken into account seasonality. Every month we should be looking at, January is 50,000, February is 25,000, March is 25,000. If we miss those numbers, we need to dig deeper and understand why. So they're doing financial planning and analysis so that you're not waiting 3 months, 6 months, 9 months to discover that you've missed your entire target. Because it's very rare you will make up for that shortfall in the last 3 to 6 months of the year. So as a CFO, I would say, get the basic accounting structure, put in place the KPIs you're going to measure so you can do effective financial planning analysis to guide the CEO, the CRO, the CTO, the head of customer success, and let them rely on hard numbers, not opinion.
Excellent. This is really, really helpful because we never got into the CFO and how important the CFO's role is. Now, this question had two dimensions. One of them is, as the CFO, how to react when times are bad, when things are not going well, and what would be the definition of the right CFO. So now, definition of the right CFO is clear. Going back to the question of what should I do if I am the CFO and I'm not doing well, or even the COO or the head of customer success, and I'm not doing well, and all the fingers point to me, and I'm being marked as the cause of this issue. How should I react? Should I be defending myself, or should I think of a way of just presenting the facts and then leaving?
Every executive, but the CFO in particular, has to be incredibly transparent with the figures that measure the success of the business. The CFO is usually one of the very first people on the executive team to know that something is not right. And they have to say something loud and clear and unambiguous when they see that happening. With the CFOs who said, here are the things that are not working well with the business. If we don't make changes now, we won't be in business in a year. And if we don't make changes now, I'm not going to be here. Right? So they were voting to leave the business because their personal professional reputation was potentially going to be compromised if the business continued running itself into the ground. There are some people with the title of CFO that aren't that good, that were making excuses for why they weren't prepared to see a negative outcome or couldn't raise the alarm soon enough. And at that point, at the end of the day, you might have somebody that's really not competent or not able to learn fast enough on the job. Maybe they need some help, or maybe you just replace them altogether because the business is growing faster than their skill set can keep up. And again, you typically will not have a CFO level individual until you've raised a reasonable amount of institutional money. And then those folks will demand that you have a finance professional on hand. Whether it's a contract finance professional or a full-time hire, they will demand that position be covered. But the CFO has to operate at the highest level of integrity. Otherwise, you've got the wrong person.
Excellent. This is really helpful. Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you.
That's it for this Minisode. Big thanks to Ed and to all of you for tuning in. If this sparked something, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and make sure you share it within your network. Got a question for Ed? Drop it within the comments. See you next time.
Please note, the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any affiliated organization. The content provided is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We encourage listeners to conduct their own research and consult with relevant professionals before making any business or career decisions.